kingdom of love. The kingdom of love. In today's gospel, Jesus is having a very interesting conversation with Pilate. You see, Pilate understands what it means to be a king. He's been sent by Rome to make sure that this providence that's in the Roman Empire stays quiet. By the way, they're not very quiet. There's always stuff going on. And Pilate is worried that somebody else will be a king and cause an insurrection. You see, the Jews who set him up there, right, to Pilate, they knew they couldn't get him on a religious ground. So they went and said, hey, this guy is fomenting dissension. He's a king. That's treason, right? You got to get rid of him. And if you think about one of the reasons that they wanted to get rid of Jesus, it's because the religious people of the time, Jesus pointed to a God that they didn't know. He kept pointing to a God that was a God of love, not a God of judgment. And by the way, have you ever read some of the Old Testament? It's easy to read that and go, wow, where's God in all of this? Amen? There's all kind of people killing people and wiping this tribe out and this tribe's happening and all these bad things are going on. It would be easy if you think that that's the way God is, to look at Jesus and go, well, the God he's pointing to is not my God. My voice is loud. Sorry, Cora. But as Jesus is standing before Pilate, he's having one of those conversations, I don't know if you've ever had, where you all are using the same language, but you're not communicating. You ever had one of those? Yeah. Using the same language. And Jesus says, he said, are you the king of the Jews? Pilate does. And Jesus said, why? Did somebody else tell you about me? My kingdom is not of earth. My kingdom is different. You see, when Jesus came into the earth, he decided to create a community based on love. A community that was different than the rest of the world. You see, the rest of the world had divided themselves between Jews and Gentiles, Romans and not Romans, rich people who were blessed and poor people who were cursed. And Jesus threw a monkey wrench into all of that. Right? He said, blessed are the poor. They went, what? How can that be? I've never seen that happen before. How can they be blessed? He said, you're a leper? Come. Let me touch you so I can heal you. He said to the people, quit being so mean. Feed the hungry. Clothe the naked. Break those chains that bind you. This is the kingdom that Jesus came and died for. The kingdom that we reaffirm every Sunday when we do Holy Eucharist and the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Every time we make our baptismal covenant, we're talking about creating a community of love. Hopefully after her bottle. We're going to bring Cora up to baptize her in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Mom, Dad, it's not going to make things perfect. When she's 16 years old, you're still going to worry about her when she's coming home. Amen? Right? The promise of Jesus Christ is not the Marine Corps. It ain't a Rose Garden. The promise of Jesus Christ is that he will never leave us or forsake us. This community that we're going to bring her in, the community of love, is something that you have to work for. Amen? That's the reason why we have these baptismal covenants. To remind us that we are not our own. Amen? We are not our own. We have been called by God apart to love one another. Not to kill each other. To lift up each other. At 8 o'clock, or 5 o'clock yesterday, right over here, Jim Shields came to church. My heart was moved. You know, he just lost his wife on Monday. Right? And he said, I'm here. Why? Because where the place would I be? This is the place that's going to hold me in as I walk through this grief. This is the place where I'm going to be loved. Ron, you know that. Janet, you know that. This is the get that promise that I'm never going to leave you or forsake you. The world out there is crazy, Corbin. It's nuts. You need a group of people, a community that have dedicated themselves to Christ, a kingdom like no other kingdom, a kingdom where love reigns. And you look around here, all these people here that are here to witness this, they're going to make promises too to uphold you. Sean? Dale, raise your hand. See this guy right here, Sean? His name's Dale Pettipack. He's going to promise. Dale, can he call you at 2 in the morning if he needs you? Anytime. Why? Because that's what God has called us to do. Jenny, raise your hand. This woman here is amazing. If you need something, she's been, by the way, I love her Facebook post. She was a teacher for all these years. Her students still come to see her. That's amazing. It is because she's touched lives. She shares her lives and her love. That's what God has called us to do. These promises we're going to make for her, she's too young to make them. But we're going to bring her into this community. We're going to bring her into this kingdom where God rules, not the world. The world loves power, and it loves to be the king or the governor or the president or whatever, so they can rule it over people. God calls us to be selfless. God calls us to think of others. That's the kingdom that God wants. May we, as we make these vows again in our baptism, remind ourselves that we are not our own. Amen? We belong to each other. I belong to you. You belong to me. Why? Because that's the way God wants. Are we ready to serve a king of the kingdom of love?